Well. Welcome everybody back. I press record and I totally lose myself. Welcome everybody back to ScrubCast. We're going to be talking about the new Overwatch announcements, a little bit about the Overwatch, of course, I guess, business model that they've decided that they're going to do that a lot of people are very negative about, I guess, because it seems like an overall negative feature, but we got two perspectives to it. I'm here with Culprit, who, of course, you guys have probably heard from a few times, hopefully if you listen to any past episodes, and he is our resident, used to be almost everyday Overwatch player with me and the boys, which was good fun. I'm doing the intro for you, Culprit. I'll give you a second. But but he is one of the players that was kind of the most hardcore one of the hardcore Overwatch lovers, but the game itself just became not a fun game anymore and became more of something for us, just sociopathic hardcore, getting our asses whipped and loving it players. Anyways, it's all over the place. So yeah, Culprit, how you doing? And actually, quickly too, have you seen any of the recent Overwatch 2 news? What have you seen in your sphere of gaming?
In my sphere of gaming, I haven't seen much about Overwatch news. In fact, just 4 minutes ago, I found out, or maybe 30 minutes ago, I found out that there was a new character that they finally released, and that was through you. So, yeah, when I walked away from it, I kind of walked away from it to break the habit for a while. Because I was hooked.
So, have you seen any of the footage of the new character, or you just literally did you look it up at all when I brought it up? What do you know at all, or even what do you know about Overwatch 2? Because it seems like, just to point out some perspective, Blizzard hasn't released any marketing that has reached the general public, which is a little bit weird. What information at all has reached your sphere of gaming?
Just that they keep there wasn't a third beta or something like that, or a third testing period. They just went with the 2, and now they're like, okay, well, the next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna be releasing it, I guess. What is it, next month that they're supposed to be releasing it, or on the
I will point something out that with most other games, the players who used to play it a whole bunch have some perspective of what the next game coming out looks like, right? Blizzard has done such a terrible job. I know all the stuff that you're saying, but I've actually had to go and dig for this type of information. There's a million different places where they've had the release date and whatnot. It's actually coming out next month. I remember the exact day. It's very, very soon. We're at the very end of Overwatch. They are getting rid of the original Overwatch, updating it to Overwatch 2, and adding a hero. Well, actually, they're adding a few new. Have you seen Junker Queen at all?
I did see a picture of her, but I didn't get to look at if it showed any kind of stats on her. I didn't know if she was a healer, DPS, or tank. No idea what she became. I just saw a picture of her, which she looked pretty dope.
Do you know what they did with Doomfist at all?
Yes, I heard that they turned him into a tank.
Okay, so they have some. I guess some information has gotten out because during the beta, that was actually the period where you got to play the Junker Queen. So there is footage out there of full Junker Queen gameplay, hours and hours and hours and hours of it at this point. But the average player kind of has no idea that they're even. Well, actually, in comparison to the average hardcore or the average player that, I don't know, like me, plays it all the time still, Junker Queen has been out for quite a while. Is that a surprise to you, or is that
No, yeah, that was a surprise to me. I didn't even realize that it was already out in the beta. I played on the first round of beta for maybe four or 5 games. I did like the feel of it. It did feel kind of faster.
Okay, I do want to dig into that. We'll just dig into that really quickly, because you have played the first beta. You say it feels way faster. like, have you played the new game modes, like the push game mode at all? Is it positive, negative response? What do you think?
I did not play I did play one of the new maps, but I didn't play the push mode. It was more of it was point to point to point.
Okay, okay.
Um, I somehow got the same one like 5 times in a row.
The payload
So
map, yeah, I can't remember its name
yeah.
too, but like, you like the faster pace, I guess, because to me, I love the slower pace of Overwatch sometimes too. But if they get rid of it, I'm a little bit worried that they're going to get rid of what is good for Overwatch.
Well, I mean, when it comes to contenders and stuff like that, they're going to be doing what, like 3 matches, or or 3 to 5. Still, they would have to go more, man, because like otherwise they're not going to have enough content. Because of how fast they're going. Like each round was super quick.
Yeah, the I don't know. It is really going to be interesting overall, especially the loss of the one tank. Do you feel like it's gonna? Are you gonna? Blah, 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 blah. Wow, I'm losing myself a lot here. Do you feel like you're going to stick with, because you played a lot of tank originally in competitive, or are you going to be playing your new play style of DPS quite a bit in competitive, because you've been playing a lot more DPS recently?
Uh,
How do you think you'll
so
play the new Overwatch 2? This is my overall question, because it's hard, because I feel like the amount of information that someone like I have, where I just spend a lot of time looking it up and following all this stuff, in comparison to the average player or the average person, is like so extreme. Like, they've given out a lot of information and we've played a bunch of it, but you obviously haven't, which is frustrating. I'm frustrated. I'm mad at Blizzard for this kind of stuff. So sorry. How do you think to come back to it? How do you think you're gonna play Overwatch 2? When you boot the game up? What are you gonna jump into? What's the first character you're gonna pick?
I think I'm gonna go with something that I'm comfortable with already. Like I'm gonna jump on Reinhardt. I'm gonna see what it feels like. Um, I do like DPS, but I would say my aim is not as good as I would like it to be. So I'm gonna probably stick on something that's I'm comfortable with to kind of get a feel of the flow, because it really does matter, like the flow, to kind of get that feeling before you know like when you're gonna be able to shoot somebody as a DPS, when you're gonna be able to heal somebody as healing. Um, so yeah, I would definitely say Reinhardt would be my go-to as soon as it dropped.
So are you like, is the tank okay? So then, what do you think about the removal of the second tank in that instance? Is that a good thing
It,
to you? Like, because some people really like it. Some tank players really, really like the fact that there is no second tank, but other players are like, this isn't Overwatch anymore.
so to be fair, when it came to playing as a tank, I only made it to like mid plat with my tank, to high plat with my tank, so I never actually pushed diamond or any higher than that. The only thing I'm looking at is the sheer competency of the other tank to work with their main tank, because as we all know, Ryan is pretty much a main tank when it comes down to it. Um, the off tanks would go off and do their own thing and wouldn't play and cause the cohesion to work between the two. So as I'm pushing forward, that tank is taken off to the right hand side doing their own thing, when that Zarya bubble could have been pivotal point for us to push forward, or they turn left, I turn right, and they didn't follow the main tank. It's like, so now everybody knows who the main tank is. So focus on that tank staying alive is a little bit more meaningful than it was previously.
That's actually a good perspective. So I've thought about that a little bit, but I haven't really broken it down into ideas, like specific ideas, because you're right. If we don't have that extra tank to cause the chaos that extra tank is meant to cause, the games are going to feel and be a little bit more clear cut when it comes to who is doing what. Now, people are worried, of course, about the big tank diff that potentially will happen when your tank is crap and the enemy tank is really, really good, and you guys are absolutely getting destroyed. But at least the good perspective on this is that you will know when and where you're absolutely losing the fight. Because especially sometimes, a lot of the times, it's really hard to tell who's screwing up when the two tanks aren't working together.
Yeah, 100% on that one.
Now, a lot of people, and this is just a perspective too from outside of the the solo queue or the competitive queue environment. A lot of pro players don't even think about that. A lot of higher tier players don't even think about that because their assumption is that there will be some form of synergy in their team. And if there's a tank diff on one end, if like their Reinhardt is a little bit worse than the enemy Reinhardt, then at least their Zarya being better than the enemy Zarya will make up for it. But that's in the chaos of an environment where everybody really understands how to play the game. They all understand what they should be doing versus the average player. The 5v5 system, I think, is going to make things a lot more readable, especially when it comes to figuring out whether or not you have an advantage. Because there's a lot of times in Overwatch where you end up killing somebody, you end up killing another person, you end up killing another person, and somehow your team loses the game because there's just too many people to deal with all at once. Now, are there any heroes that look a little bit overpowered to you in Overwatch 2? They did make some changes. Were there any heroes that seemed a little bit oppressive when you played the beta? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I didn't really get to see Doom in action as a tank, but it was more of, I don't know if you noticed it, but it felt like the coloring, the atmosphere that you were in Overwatch 2, as in like the visual aspects, seemed so much crisper and clearer than the ones that are currently out.
Okay.
Visually appealing to me, honestly. I can separate and decipher the where the players are based off of how crisp the lines were.
Okay. I think clarity seems to be the focus of Overwatch 2 overall. One less crazy chaos-making tank on the field, and a much more clear environment, a much less cluttered environment. They've removed.
Yes.
Now, I do like the user interface of Overwatch 1, but like Overwatch 2's interface is very clean. It's very easy to read at a glance. It's very easy to see what's going on. So, especially when we're not like, 17, 18-year-old Zoomers who somehow have magical powers and can read your movement just by, you stepping one pixel to the left as opposed to one pixel to the right. We can't really read that. So the clearer the game, the easier the game is to read. I think the more fun it will be to both watch and play. And that's going to be important to mostly everybody who plays Overwatch, because most people who play Overwatch are below diamond, and that's where I would say even below diamond potentially you have issues reading the field. So it depends. Again, hopefully that one less tank too makes it much more clear when your team has certain space or not, because it is very hard to tell what's going on when two tanks or even three tanks in the case of Echo are just firing all sorts of colors everywhere, and your job is just to stand around and use your cooldown at the right time. And we've all been that position where we don't know whether or not our cooldown is the right time, just because there's just so much shit on the Overwatch 1 battlefield flying around. I think we can kind of end it here. I did want to talk a little. I was hoping that that the others would join for talk about the new hero, but of course we don't want this to be just a reaction stream, unless Culprit's actually seen it and messed around with it or whatever. Or so obviously none of us have played the new hero, but obviously he even hasn't played Junker Queen either, or even seen with Junker Queen. Which again, Blizzard, why have you not made this stuff clear? Yeah, we're
Kiriko throws out a wolf.
Yes. like I say, I don't want to turn this into a reaction
Okay.
podcast. We can go through it, take a look at it sometime, Culprit. Go peek at the new hero gameplay, and maybe next week too, we can actually talk about whatever. I should set this up and ask you ahead of time, so it's my fault, 100%. But this is good information, I think, too, for all of us into how well, again, Blizzard has been doing at getting out the message of Overwatch 2. So,
Yeah, they really need to start pushing their marketing team. But if they're going to like free to play, then how much information were we given by by other games like that, like Apex Legends? They didn't go all out on their marketing. They said, hey, there's this badass game, you want to play it? It's free to play.
They did, yeah. But at the end, by the end, like now they have crazy marketing. I think they have like, yeah, they've got advertising everywhere. Especially on YouTube too. For a while, they had a big one. But they did focus on the game first, and
Correct.
built
And then
out their advertising campaign from there, which hopefully
based off of their sells, right?
Yes.
Like them selling those characters and them unlocking them based off of like loot boxes, the items. That's where they're gonna. That's what I would assume that Blizzard's taking that standpoint. If they're going free to play, for Overwatch 2, then they're just going to, let's see how much money we take in, then we'll focus marketing. If we get a lot, if we don't get a lot of hits and a lot of people don't show up, they're not going to focus on that anymore. They're going to go with their other big builder, which is World of Warcraft, or even Heroes of the Storm kind of died out for them. But when it comes to Overwatch,
one last question then to
Yeah.
interrupt it. Have you seen the hero unlock plan that they have going on?
no, I think I heard you briefly touch on what it is. It's kind of like you have to unlock them over time and through loot boxes or something like that.
There will be a battle pass, and you will be able to either unlock the hero or unlock the hero through playtime, which sucks, I think. But also the other perspective is us long-term players, it's not going to matter at all because we're going to have all the unlocks anyways. That's usually, and also too, when it comes to like scrims and it comes to other stuff, all like even mystery heroes, that's all unlocked. So you can still play them in all the other game modes, but for their like open competitive system that they have, you do have to unlock the hero, which, yeah. You can go take
that's not too bad. For the older players, but like that's pretty bad for the newer players.
Yes.
I mean, if they gave them the option, like okay, every character that was in Overwatch 1 is open, and now any character that comes out is going to be an unlock status that you have to hit.
Oh, that's what they're doing.
That's fine. I mean,
yeah.
but they're going to end up getting to a point where like I won't play Apex because there's too many characters out there, and I'm not going to pay to have them all open. So y'all done. I'm done with Apex. Like,
yeah, that's really hard when they have characters that seem a little bit OP, and you don't. So hopefully there is some kind of balance or some kind of I don't know how they're going to do it. It's very controversial, but you can take a look into that a little bit later. And well, it's Overwatch 2 is coming out fairly soon, so we can actually end up playing it. Of course, everybody gets it for free. Everybody who has the game already gets all their stuff upgraded, and I'm excited. I'm a little bit excited.
I'm not gonna lie. I am still excited. I'll still play it. I'm gonna still try it out. I hope I don't get hooked as I did before, but I'm still gonna check it out. Still gonna play it.
So you guys heard it now. Culprit Gaming is now going to be another Overwatch 2 stream. And
it's too saturated, but I do want to play. I might throw it on YouTube, like maybe do live streaming on YouTube when I play that.
And the Overwatch community will show their love. And
you can see how loving I am in 7 Days to Die, but then when it comes to Overwatch, you'll see how toxic I can be.
Oh God. Oh yes.
No.
Oh yes. I got PTSD, but that's all right. It's good times. Nothing but good times. Anyways, we'll wrap it up here. Let's get into some actual games. So in just a moment, we'll be setting up some pre-fights where, of course, everybody can join in and pre-fight before we run scraps. And Yeah, stuff and things. I will see you guys all next week for next episode of ScrubCast. We'll have a little bit more information together and hopefully grab some more people in here. All right, thanks guys.